Hello everyone, how are you all? I'm Debottam and you are listening to Better You, Better Life, a self-improvement plan podcast, Season 1, Episode 5. Before we move on towards our another episode, let us recap in brief about what we have discussed in Episode 4. Our inner self-doubt is a poison, then building self-confidence is the antidote for it. Some of the practices which may include your self-doubt is that identifying the source of your problem. Then we also discussed about challenging negative thoughts through some affirmation techniques or any kind of meditation. We can challenge our negative thoughts, which is responsible for our self-doubt. Then we have also discussed about reshaping our personality by surrounding ourselves within positive people, positive mindset of people. We also discussed about practicing self-care, how self-care is also improved and it is linked with your physical and mental well-being. Rather than focusing on your weaknesses which are not in your control, let us focus on what are your strengths, which will help you rebuilding your self-confidence. Also, we discussed about setting up realistic goals. You should not be overwhelmed by setting up an impossible goal which will lead you to take disappointments into action. Then we also thought about, instead of overthinking, we should directly get into action. And other than that, if your situation is very serious or if you are really looking for something more specific, then we can always go for seeking help from a professional or a therapist or a close friend. We concluded that by implementing these strategies, we can always overcome self-doubt and achieve our goals. Today, we will be discussing about how experiences gained through making mistakes in the past or in the present can enhance your capacity as an individual. See, we have been talking a lot about making mistakes and learned about its aspects in detail. We will try to touch another aspect of it, that is how an individual can grow himself qualitatively before. So now when we say that enhancing your individual capabilities, it doesn't mean that by realizing your mistake you will become a super intellect or a superhuman. It's just that you are more conscious of your actions, which will prevent you in making errors in your coming days. Let's break it down. What I'm trying to highlight here is that just that your experience, it will become a tool or it will become a learning guide which will act as a protective force for you to avoid making that same mistake in the future. As all of we know, and we have discussed in our previous subsequent episodes, that mistakes are often seen as failures and something that people try to avoid at all costs. But however, just let's think it from the other side. Let's change our perspective a bit from the suffering side. We can always see that mistakes can actually enhance your capacities in numerous ways, and we are talking both qualitatively and quantitatively. Making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process and we should accept it. And if we are acceptable enough about our actions, then it can definitely provide some valuable lessons that can be learned other way. Let us discuss first. Mistakes can enhance your problem solving abilities. Now, when you make a mistake, it often requires you to re-evaluate the situation and find a new solution to it. Equation is very simple. For getting an outcome, you will have 1,000 ways to do it, and it is not guaranteed that in your first attempt you will reach your outcome. In the process, you will be making some different permutations and combinations, and out of those 1,000, only 1 or 2 will take you towards the actual outcome. It requires you to re-evaluate the situation and finding different alternatives. That's where we human beings are so developed when we compare ourselves with other species that is living or surviving in this planet. This process of problem solving strengthens our analytical and critical thinking skills. Let's break it down once again. Analytical means you have the whole picture in front of you, and based on that you are trying to draw the inputs from it, and you are trying to apply those inputs in your actual action. And this learning approach towards your situation from different angles and develop a more flexible mindset that is better equipped to handle unexpected challenges, because for every single action there will be hidden challenges which will reveal only when you actually do it in the field. So you have so many benefits. You improve your analytical skills, you improve your critical thinking skills, you learn how to approach that situation, so that now you are intelligent enough that if similar situation that you are gonna face in the future, you know what exactly needs to be done. Moving on to our next point, mistakes can help you to develop your resilience. Now resilience, we have often came across this term when we were studying science in our elementary school. Resilience is nothing but it is the ability to come back. Failing at something can be very discouraging or depressing, but it can also teach you how to bounce back and persevere. That's why you can see there are many great examples in the field of business, sports, or say any other field. Successful people have always came back strongly from their failure. They have done so many mistakes, they were never afraid of making mistakes. They kept applying their intellect, they kept applying their determination, will to succeed. So failing at some things, and it also teaches you how to bounce back, and learning from your mistakes and continue to move forward, it's always build a sense of resilience, a sort of strength within you. It gives you that extra energy to withstand challenges, and this goes very well throughout your life. Moving on to our next point is that mistakes can provide a valuable feedback that can help you to improve. It is very obvious that we always make mistakes, learning from it, and it can only lead to improve. But what exactly you mean by improving from your mistake? Does that mean that you will make mistakes every time for your improving? No. See, when you make a mistake, you are forced to identify what exactly went wrong and why. You all, whenever, say for example in an army or in any operation, if anything goes wrong, they always try to find out from the checklist, from the protocols, what exactly went wrong, what was the source of the problem and why it has happened, whether the error was natural, whether it was manual, automatic, technology, etc., etc. So when you make a mistake, you also in a similar position where you are forced to identify. If you are really passionate about setting up any enterprise or any business, you will always figure out what exactly went wrong or where the lacuna exactly existed and why it has happened. This process of self-reflection can always help you to identify your weaknesses and areas where you need to improve. By learning from your mistakes, you can always develop those new skills. Sometimes you go wrong because of ignorance. Sometimes you tend to overlook some micro detail in your action. So that also gives an opportunity for you to learn and gather some new skills or new capacities and build strategies accordingly. That will help you to improve your probability of achieving greater success in the future in your field. Coming to next point is that mistakes can teach you to take calculated risks. Risk is associated with all of our lives. It is there and you can't avoid it. If you never make a mistake, then you may become overly cautious and miss out on some valuable opportunities. Because our brain is act very cowardly or cunningly, I would say. It always try to console you with the things existing around you, and it always try to comfort you. It try to blindfold you by setting up a set of variables so that you feel satisfied and you don't try anything out of your comfort zone. And that's the myth, and that's the illusion we have to break. If you never make mistakes, then how will you learn what exactly you are? I know it's difficult to implement, and it's very easy to say, but this part we have to encounter if we want to move ahead in our lives. While moving ahead in our lives, it is possible that we might fail, and we fail miserably. But if we have enough guts to accept our failure and embracing this possibility, which might happen even in our future actions, we learn how to take calculated risks, because that time you will have a solution in hand that for doing action A, these are the possible outcomes, and based on your capacity, based on your willingness, you will go that extra mile for which you are ready to sacrifice. You will learn how to measure the potential risks for an outcome and the benefits of a situation. And all these things, now that you have a bigger picture, you have listed all the potential risks for your outcome you're willing to achieve, the rewards which you will get, all these things will help you to do an analysis, and this analysis will help you making better decisions, which is nothing but another determinant of how successful you will be. Finally, we can also take mistakes as a tool to develop our growth mindset. A growth mindset is nothing but is the belief in yourself. It's the belief in your abilities and in your intelligence that can be developed through hard work and years of dedication. When you develop a growth mindset, you tend to focus more on your purpose and you work towards it. Now that you are so strong, you are more intelligent, and you are more aware about your actions, that the purpose for which you are working becomes greater, has a greater chance of becoming a success. So by embracing those mistakes and using them as opportunities for your learning and growth, you can always develop a growth mindset that will help you to achieve your full potential as an individual. Let us try to summarize what we have discussed. Mistakes can always provide you some disappointing performance, depression, social exclusion, etc., etc. But if we accept our actions, it can be used those experience can be used as a great tool for enhancing our capabilities in many ways. We discussed some of these ways it can strengthen our problem solving and analytical skills. We have also discussed that mistakes can help in developing our resilience, that is to come back when people expect you the least. It can also provide a valuable feedback. By using experience as your guide, you can use it as a feedback for your actions. It can also teach you to take calculated risks, which eventually leads to better decision making. And it will also help you to develop a growth mindset. Well, in all these practices, it is important to always strive for success, but it is also equally important that you as an individual embrace the possibility of failure and use it as a tool for growth and learning. So the next time you make a mistake, so you have no reason to be discouraged. Instead, embrace it as an opportunity to enhance your capabilities, and you can become a better version of yourself. With these concluding notes, I hope that you found this episode helpful. I want to thank you, and I thank you once again for listening to my podcast. Until we meet next time, please enjoy your weekend. Signing out.